Welcome to Life Unravelled, where we unravel life's little mysteries. Today we're going to move into writing. So we're going to understand the intricacies about writing and what we can do for our preschooler and our pre-preschooler to help them so that they can write easily without any worries about sore arms or tired hands or anything like that, because that's one of the things that is very difficult with kids. So let's get started. So we're talking about writing down our thoughts and our stories. It's such a wonderful thing, and it's so good that we use it all the time as adults. But as children, they don't tend to want to write. And so it's our job as parents to encourage our children to write, just like we need to encourage them to read. So let's have a look. What is the progression and learning to be able to write down our stories and our ideas? First of all, children need to have heard lots and lots of words, just like we were talking about in the speaking and talking with the vocab. They need to have heard lots of words. If they haven't heard any words, then they can't actually produce any written document. They then need to be able to read words. So to be able to write, they have to be able to read. And then they need to be able to form those letters and know the shapes of the letters, to then practice those and to be able to write down their own words. So it's a very big, complex thing, and we're not expecting children to be great writers until really they're into their adolescent years. What we're wanting is for children to have a go and to learn how to structure things right from a very early age. So I think it's a great idea to get crayons into little kids' hands, and I've got some great crayons. I'll show you that. Now, these are the crayons that I'm talking about, and I got them in a pack like this. Now, you can see that they're quite big compared to my hand, and for little people's hands, what they tend to do is they can put their hand over the top and they grab it. Now, if you have a look when I grab it, you can see that there are 3 points. And that is how we hold our pencil. The other thing that they can do is they can put their finger in here and grab it like that. Now again, what they're doing is this finger here is directing where they're going, and these two are supporting. And when we're looking at a pencil grip, that's exactly what we need. So these specific, they've got a big hole in the middle, you can see. These specific crayons are really great to help children with a very good pencil grip. Now, pencil grip over the last 20 years has changed somewhat, and teachers haven't tended to be very specific about the grip of the pencil. And there's only a few teachers that I know of that make a big effort of it. But it's really, really important. If you do not want any problems with this area of your wrist, then it's really essential that you hold your pencil properly. So to be able to hold our pencil properly and write, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we sit in the correct position. So make sure that they have a good spot to sit, that the desk is the right height, and that they're holding that crayon properly. Now, it's okay to sit on the floor and muck around, but as long as they're holding the crayon or holding their pencil properly, then that's fantastic. The next thing that, as part of story writing, is that you want to think of what you want to say. As a teacher, I've seen so many times kids sitting there and going, I just don't know what to say. And then I ask them to start telling me the story and telling me what they want. And they can verbalise it very easily, but it's getting it into the written form which they find difficult. But not only writing it down and writing the words down, they need to learn that a story has a beginning, a middle and an end, that it has a problem and a resolution. And some complex stories have a problem with a resolution that doesn't quite fit the characters, so it has to then have another problem with another resolution, and then the final resolution happens. So what we're talking about is that the format of the story. And there are many different types of stories, but I'm primarily talking about narrative stories today. Let's help our kids learn to write stories through their own storytelling. For instance, what you could do is make up a puppet theatre. And we had a puppet theatre at home, and the kids would make up their own puppets and they'd make their own stories. They'd have so much fun. It would be a whole afternoon that they would spend creating all of these characters and then making these stories. And it didn't really matter whether the story it had a beginning, a middle and an end, or whether it was just a made-up story and it made no sense except to them. The importance was that they started telling these stories. And what you want your children to do is to feel free to explore their imagination, to explore the world, and to explore these stories that they want to create. You can actually, just like we did before, is write their stories down. For instance, one of my daughters wrote down her story, and then you can put that into the written form and they can do their own writing and their own drawing with that. Making sure that every time they hold their pen properly. It is really, really important that they have these two fingers are the guide fingers, and this one just sits very lightly on the top. So you have a triangle form. And it's important that you do have that and that you don't hold it in any other way. So to create these stories and to be able to write these words, we need to practice writing. So we need to practice doing our A's, our B's, our C's, and that's often just sitting in a good position and copying our writing. There are plenty of handbook writing books out there that you can get. So go to the news agency, see if you can find them there, or any of Kmart and the bookshops, they often have them. It's well worthwhile getting that writing happening before they start school, and then when they're at school they'll really push on ahead and they'll be able to feel confident with their writing. Another important part of writing is actually knowing the words to write down and knowing how to spell them. And one of the really fun ways that you can do is around the house you can label everything. And that way the children really get an idea of what the word looks like. And as they're reading, they'll then refer back in their heads to what the spelling was for those different words, and then you can encourage them to make their own labels. It means that for a couple of months you'll end up with a whole house full of labels, but we do all sorts of things for our kids, and it's really lovely to see their faces when they have created the label themselves, and they're so proud of themselves and they can see a progression of their work. Thanks for listening, and I hope you learnt heaps this time. We've got more videos. Remember to go onto their website www.lifeunraveled.com.au to find more courses to learn lots about kids and all sorts of other parts of life. See you next time.